Hey guys, it's Silver Snorlax and I am back today to talk about security for the graded card vault storage system. Now this is a storage case that I did a review on about 2 weeks ago, so if you haven't had a chance to check out that review, check the description. There will be a link to that review. But in that review I mentioned very briefly that there were some security features and options that I would like to go over in more detail with this particular case. So my hope is with this video that I can not only show you some of those features with this particular case, but hopefully this gives you some ideas that might help better protect your own collection, however you may store them. I realize not everybody's going to have a SKBI series graded card vault storage system, but there are a lot of you out there with really nice collections that may have a difficult time finding ways to accurately secure them, as this is a topic that really isn't talked about too much when it comes to PSA collecting or just graded cards in general. So the big hope here is you guys can find something and adapt it to your own collection. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started. So the big thing about my case is that there are two little clasps on the front that allow for padlocks. This particular case does in fact need two padlocks in order to function the way it is supposed to. I have one on here for example, but if I don't have another padlock on and all the latches are disengaged, I already have the two on the side disengaged. Once I pop the two on the front here, you can actually see I can actually pop this open and pull this open a little bit, and that's just enough room to get a hand in and kind of take something out or whatever the case may be. I can infiltrate the case if I only have one padlock on here. So with that in mind, you do need two padlocks. So since we're on the subject of padlocks, let's go ahead and talk about what padlock I use, or set of padlocks I use, I should say. I did a lot of research into padlocks and ultimately decided I wanted to run with a couple of high security padlocks, which is exactly what I have on here now. This is an Avis 8353 padlock, and it runs with an Alloy Protec 2 core, which is a very pick resistant core. Matter of fact, it might be the most pick resistant core on the market. I'll give you a quick little close-up here. This is the actual padlock itself. It runs with an 8mm or 5/16 shackle. That's the diameter of the shackle. Hardened steel body, and the exterior is also waterproof, weatherproof, excuse me. Obviously, for this application, you don't need a weatherproof padlock. However, this is just how this padlock is put out on the market. It just so happens to be built for that. However, the shackle size and the strength of the shackle were the two things I was looking at. Probably one of the heaviest things I was looking at. That and the body of the actual lock itself. This is a hardened alloy steel for the shackle, and the body is a steel body as well. So very tough, durable stuff. You have to be careful. A lot of padlocks are actually brass or nickel or a metal that is a lot softer. So this particular padlock gave me a lot of security. The core, the locking mechanism inside, is an Alloy Protec 2 core. Like I said before, that's a core that you can't pick quickly. I'll put it that way. There are lots of combinations to get into this kind of lock, and it would take a very long time in order to get through all of them. I'll say that much on it. So I do run with a set of high security padlocks for my case. I recommend you guys do the same as well, depending on if your collection's worth thousands of dollars or tens of thousands, whatever the case may be. Perfect for helping to prevent home burglary, or say take this on an airplane, something like that. You just don't trust the baggage handler. Those locks are ideal for that kind of thing. So heavy duty padlocks, get a couple, those are good. These padlocks are fairly expensive. They do run at about, it depends a little bit on what add-ons you want, but typically you'll see them for about $200 per padlock. They are, again, high security, but they are very expensive. So I know that number might scare a couple people away, so the next option I have on my case is a lot more budget friendly and something that you guys may like to see instead, and I'll show you that now. So something else I've done with my case is I've actually installed on the back here. This is a vibration detection alarm. So what this does is, as soon as this case is moved, it's jostled, whatever, it's picked up and then put right back down, this alarm senses that vibration and it goes off. It emits a 100 decibel alarm. It's a very loud alarm. It definitely will let your neighbors know something is going on, and is super cheap. A 4-pack of these off of Amazon is less than 20 bucks, and replacement batteries for these things are like 30 cents a battery, so they're super cheap. The battery life is supposed to last at least a year, so you don't have to replace the batteries that much. The biggest downside to running something on the exterior of the case like this is it does run with a simple on-off switch. There are other models out there that on-off switch is a little less apparent. There are other models out there that are slightly bigger than that one as well. If you don't want something quite that small, you want something a little bigger, makes a little more noise. Do your research, you can definitely find this stuff, but vibration detection alarm is what I run with on the exterior of my case. Oh, and by the way I store this case, that vibration detection alarm is not very apparent. Most of the time it's like this, or it's straight up and down, and that alarm is so thin and so small that that's not a problem. It can still be stored just like that. So if the exterior isn't ideal for you, the interior of my case, I actually run a second vibration detection alarm. I'll actually show you how thin that is. I have just a standard piece of cardboard on here. It's back to that. It's crazy thin. I do recommend running one on the inside, and you don't have to leave it loose back to a piece of cardboard like I have mine. The back of this particular case, actually, this is a foam pad that is removable. I can cut a little piece out of the foam, stick my alarm in there. I can stick it to the back of my case. There are a couple of options I have with it that really help to secure my case. The alarm will, of course, be muffled while it is secured in the case, but it is just loud enough to have somebody nearby hear it and, you know, draw a little suspicion. Maybe somebody who's trying to make off with the case kind of thinks again about it, that sort of deal. So just things to keep in mind. That is exactly what that alarm is designed to do. Moving on, the last option I have, and this is more for retrieval after a theft, something like that. Let's say your first two levels of security don't work. The last one's a very simple one, and that is to run a GPS device in the case. Now, this is a very old GPS. This is about 10 years old, and it's actually something you would use for your car. However, I'm using it for this video for the sake of example. The size of this 10-year-old piece of equipment fits right inside my case, no problem. GPS units are a lot smaller now. So anything you find on the market, you know, and these are fairly cheap to buy, by the way. They're anywhere from 50 to 100 bucks, and a lot of times they're even cheaper than that. You can just put it right inside your case. Again, you can put it inside that foam lid, whatever works best for you. You can then track where the case has gone, give that information to local authorities or whoever, and you can relocate the case with ease. The biggest downside to running a GPS locator or something similar to it, they do need to have their batteries recharged every so often if they're on constantly, so keep that in mind. Additionally, there is usually a fee associated with running those and having those tracked. Typically a monthly fee. Everything I've seen online is right around 20 bucks. I've read some people can use a SIM card and kind of run data that way. I'm not super familiar with that information. I'm still doing some research on it, but that is an option as well if you're not interested in the monthly fee aspect of it. So a couple of options there, a couple of really good security options for a case like this, and this case is great for all the things that I've mentioned before. Obviously the case itself is incredibly heavy duty. It's going to resist most of the other issues you would encounter, and that's why I run a case like this. But hopefully this information that I'm giving you will help better protect your own collection. Those vibration detection alarms also work on doors and windows, so if you want to install one of those, maybe you keep your cards in a certain room or closet or whatever, you can install one of those on the back of a closet door or on the outside of a window, whatever the case may be, and hopefully that will help better secure your collection, give you a little more peace of mind. So with that said, guys, I really hope this video was informational and helpful to you. If you have additional feedback or something I didn't quite cover, please feel free to leave it in the comments section. Hopefully we can help other members out of the community as we talk about security aspects with our collection. And that's about it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll have another upload again soon.